All right, so we're doing the second part of Q&A. We got some cameos. What's everyone's name?
My name is Margaret, and this is Rocco.
Oh, hi. Oh, hey. Oh, hey. All right, so... Ooh, we should probably turn that off. That's not annoying at all.
It's on the back.
Oh, I'm really good at technology and stuff. There we go. All right, Robert Baudette. How do we avoid another emotional hangover like the Buffalo to Dallas game? Can't take the G-men lightly. Well, I think Kevin O'Connell has to internalize and relate to his players like, hey, we can't have that again. And I think the players certainly know it as well. So I think that for the final home game of the season, a chance for the Vikings to really solidify themselves in the 2 seed and keep the 1 seed alive, I think they're going to show up and show out against a very good 8-5-1 New York Giants team. Big D, you have said that you don't use nut or seed oils. What would you recommend for deep frying? So we don't do a lot of deep frying. Like we do a lot of sauteing and a wok and stuff. I use a lot of avocado oil. Where I found it's a good balance between neutral flavor and also having a higher smoke point, so it's higher than olive oil. Zach Ballas, can you explain why the clock runs sometimes even when the runner goes out of bounds? So the clock only stops when it's under 2 minutes when the runner goes out of bounds. So I mean you can go out of bounds anytime when there's more than 2 minutes, and it's not going to stop the clock. Or sometimes the rules vary where it depends on when the referee sets the ball, and then the clock runs, something like that. Connor May, we have played in 2 of the greatest NFL games of all time, and like there is no cap, I'm just thankful. That is kind of true. I mean, that Colts game is going to be replayed forever. Think of how many times you saw that Bills and Oilers game. And also, I mean, the Vikings-Bills game is going to be up there on the list as well. Next. Braden Brick. Why do the Vikings make me age 10 years every game? All right, so, bro, you're like 200 years old now. That's how it goes. Matt. What was up with not going for 2 points earlier? We knew we needed a 2-pointer eventually. Why not go for it when it was 20-36? If they fail, they could make up for it with 2 more successful. So analytics-wise, it does behoove you to go for it earlier rather than waiting for the last one, because it lets you know that if you miss one, that you need to make up another possession or go for 2 again. So I think that's the analytics. That's the analytics view, but I think the old school view, which Kevin O'Connell is part of at times, where don't go for 2 until you have to go for 2, sort of that mentality. Connor Keck, after this game, what does the future hold for Ed Donatell? I think he's still going to retire or be promoted to senior defensive assistant after this season. I think that they're going to get some fresh blood in there at defense coordinator. I wouldn't mind Brandon Staley if and when he gets fired by the Chargers. So I'm actually kind of hoping for the collapse of the Chargers. Derek Baker, I know we have a few games left, 7 more, but how has Kirko Chain's Cousins' season stacked up against the best seasons by Vikings quarterbacks of the past? Well, it's tough to stack them up side by side because he's still still not putting up like the insane Lulu black and white numbers. So it's not going to be like Dante 2004 or even Cunningham 98. But it really does come down to winning clutch games. So I mean, it may be more of like a Tommy Kramer type season where you take the best season of Tommy Kramer, or the 69 season with Joe Cap, where even though Joe Cap threw for 7 touchdowns in the game, do you know that? It's kind of crazy, man. But it's not so much about the stats; it's about getting it done in clutch time, and that's what Kirk Cousins is doing. Vikings Nation, is it safe to say KJ can be a wide receiver 2 in this league? Yes, I think he certainly can. I think that. Yeah, I think the future for the Vikings is going to be JJ and KJ. I think Thielen has a couple of more good years in him, but could be more of like an ancillary piece a la Larry Fitzgerald towards the end of his career. Nuko, if Kirk Cousins leaves after the season, which I doubt, what quarterback should they go for? Stay with Mullins or draft someone or possibly sign or trade for someone? I think 100% Kirk Cousins is going to be the quarterback of the Vikings in 2023, probably 2024. I think that if the draft board falls right, if they're able to pick up a quarterback in this draft, I think they should potentially go for it, especially since Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi then would have their own guy that they picked. Rogue Renegade. Do you think Max Duggan of TCU would be a good quarterback to develop behind Kirk for our future? If not him, then who? I do like Max Duggan a lot. I think that he has a lot of really good intangibles, a lot of good leadership. I think that he's played some really good ball for the Horned Frogs. He's probably not going to be a first-round guy, but you never really know with the quarterback tax. So if the Vikings can grab him on day 2, even though they are down a second-round pick, or possibly maneuver, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Next up, the superior affection. Is it true that Surgeon General will now require Vikings games to issue a warning indicating that attending or watching their games may be hazardous to one's health? Probably should. Yeah, let's get the government involved in everything. Kirk Rural. Did someone else on the coaching staff start calling the second half defense man coverage and tons of blitzing, which was opposite of basically every game this year? I know it's Matt Ryan and the Colts, but we can't play this BS shell defense anymore if we don't want to get bounced in the first round. I think that's fair. I mean, it was so weird because O'Connell, I talked about taking the air out of the coverage, same thing with Donatel, and it really did start looking like more of a Mike Pettin defense. I mean, Pettin and Rex Ryan back in the day with the Jets, they were playing press man across the board. They were blitzing all over the place. So maybe it was a little bit of Ed knowing the score, and also his back was up against the wall because the Vikings got blown out. I think he's fired. Yeah, I really do. Or at least relieved of his play calling duties. Will Sniff, first off, how TF did this happen? Second, do we use up all of our blessings, or is this our year? It just seems like a really weird year, doesn't it? And all this talk about point differential, all that matters is you have a better point differential than your opponent that day, right? So, 3 games in the playoff, 3 games in the regular season, 3 games in the playoffs, Super Bowl. Weird things can happen, man. Shaq Pack. If you can replace any subject in general high school education, which subject would you replace, and with which new subject? I would probably take out like geometry or trigonometry or something like that. Well, definitely have that for advanced students, but I think in general, I mean, most people don't really need it. I would put in a personal finance class. Something to do with budgeting, taxes, credit scores, applying for loans, money management, cash flowing, expenses, staying out of debt, all those things. And then also I would put in I know that some high schools have this, but I would expand to like a trades program where people who aren't going to go to college, because college isn't for everyone, and just because you go to college doesn't mean that you're going to be accomplished in life. But people who want to get into the trades, whether it's construction, electrician, basically anything, having programs with local businesses where some of these kids can get on the job experience and see if it is for them, and possibly work in some apprenticeships and really get their foot in the door, getting in some of these trades jobs, right out of high school. Yeah, so I'll put that in. Traveler, do the Vikings prioritize player rest or maintain the 2 seed? I think they're going to try and balance it. I think they're going to try and groove winning games, but also reducing some snaps for some veterans. Yeah, so I think they're going to try and split the baby, at least to start. Chili rules. The only question I have is, you like that? We do. Do you like that?
Like what?
Yeah, we like it. Cam the man. Turned the game off at half because I just couldn't watch that issue anymore, but I paid attention to the comeback without turning the TV back on, because every time I would turn on the TV, something bad would happen. For example, I turned the game back on, Kirk threw the second pick immediately, so I took one for the team and decided not to watch the rest of the game. Pretty much I won this game for us and deserve a game ball. Also, how is the money raising going? So we're at about 837. All right, so we need a little bit more to bring it up to 1K for do the full match, but I'm going to do the full match anyways. Let's be honest here. So what are we doing? Graphic. There you go. All Venmo and all Super Chats sent to the show. In December, we'll go to Twin Cities Food Shelves, matching up to 1K. We're at about 837 right now, last time I checked. And then, well, what this means is that you can't watch any more games. You just have to watch the game cast on your phone. The Hood. Were you the one that put 100 on the Vikings when they were plus 2,600? Daddy has put jelly beans on the Vikings at various points this season, so it would be nice if it did pull through. But yeah, those are one of the wagers. User, is it just me, or does Dalvin like he's not trying to get upfield when there's no running lanes? And what's your opinion on Brian Asamoah as a starter next year? No, I think Dalvin's still running hard. For Asamoah, I think Asamoah is the future, man. I absolutely love the way that he plays. I think he's got speed for days. He's the modern off-ball linebacker, and he just seeks out contact. He's just really good. I just really love him. Wild Bumblebee, do you think at halftime that KOC was letting Pettin secretly call the play? Sure wasn't Dontel. I mean, it's possible. That would actually be really funny if it was Donatel just secretly got usurped, or Pettin was calling the plays and Donatel just thought he was in charge. It's like when you're playing video games and you give a little kid a controller that's not connected, and then they're just like, "Hey, I'm helping." Like, you remember that, right?
Yeah.
Next up, Dragon Lord. I don't know if you want Cook here still or not, because I can't really decide right now either. I wouldn't mind Dalvin back, but not at $10.4 million. It's one of those spots. Zach, what will it take for this team to win by double digits? They just got to play a complete game. Like, no slack on defense, no slack on special teams. Offense doesn't have a mid-game nap. Yeah. Jim Isaacs, why don't we blitz every effing play? Well, that would get too predictable, but I understand what you're saying. They definitely need to amp up, bring more heat. Isaiah, are the Vikings good at coming back at a game, or does Matt Ryan have a curse on these type of games? I guess I saw a graphic where he has the worst collapse in regular season, playoff, NFC title game, and Super Bowl history. I'm not sure if that's correct, but man. And also, most of them aren't his fault. I mean, 28-3 was more on the defense than him, but whatever. Derek Baker, NFC Offensive Player of the Week, Kirko Chains, or KJ Osborne, catch footballs. It was Kirk. Next, Michael Miller. Can we keep the 2 seed? Yes. Yeah, as long as the Vikings keep winning. Also, if the Commies can beat the Niners one time, that would certainly be nice. But yeah, the Vikings control their own destiny with the 2 seed. Petrie, do we think we can play a normal game? Championship winners don't tend to do it the 2023 Vikings way. But we'll take any win anyway. But winning a championship is not a Hollywood movie. Got to play realistic gridiron. 25 years UK Vikings fan with heart palpitations. Okay, well then tell that to the 07. Tell that to the 07 Giants. Tell that to the 2012 Ravens, where never played a normal game. I mean, the Giants were like 9-7, and also I think they had a 3-game losing streak somewhere in there. Yeah. Nova Physics. Why didn't you do a winners and losers video? Because I was at an undisclosed location. I didn't have my normal setup, and it was just more emotion and stuff. But we'll rectify that. We'll have a Giants one on, I don't know, late Christmas Day or something. Nova Physics again. It's crazy that when the Eagles barely beat the Bears, everyone hyped them up for winning the close games. How much grit they have, but when the Vikings win close games, they're frauds. And also, like the Eagles, they had to come back and beat the Colts by 1. The Chiefs lost to the Colts. Yeah, but we get nothing. Planes and gains. Why are the Vikings always a part of these the craziest games? You never know what to expect next. It's because the Vikings have never played a normal game. Ever. Zargos, 44. My wife accidentally cut her hand making breakfast, went to urgent care to get stitches. I watched the game on her phone as the doctor sewed her up. Is that not Die Hard or what? I mean, absolutely. Plus, if your wife was watching too, because she had to get her fix, I mean, that would be fantastic. Also, if you watched the whole game from urgent care, man, just want to know what that reaction was when Greg Joseph put that one through the post. Woo! Anthony Sebring. Skull Vikings, what the greatest comeback in the history of the NFL, as the Vikings show us why you never stop believing. Media is doing a lot better on giving us credit. I guess all it took was the greatest comeback in history. NFL question. Oh boy, do we want the 2 seed? No, you play who you play. Don't try and groove a playoff matchup. And yeah, and they're gonna balance rest. And then Kevin Connell's. And Kevin O'Connell's going to be smart about it. I mean, he went through the whole playoff and Super Bowl thing with the Rams last year, so he knows what he's talking about. DeJuice, ribs or brisket? I'd say brisket, but I also have some really nice beef ribs that we're going to do over Christmas weekend. So I'm really excited about those. But also like a really good pork rib. Ain't nothing wrong with that. And also, so I've come to find I like spare ribs more than I like St. Louis ribs or baby back ribs or certainly loin back ribs, because I think loin back ribs can get dry. Because I mean, it's basically just a pork loin on a bone. But yeah, give me the fattier cuts of the ribs. It just melts and they're more tender. Showdown. Give Cousins time to throw, and he's going to eat you alive. Would you expect Ed Ingram and how? Would you replace Ed Ingram and how? Any prospects you like? His big feet or drive me nuts. Yeah, Ed Ingram has stepped on Kirk Cousins 3 times now this season. I haven't really done a deep dive on the draft stuff since we've been paying attention to the season, but I'm sure we'll certainly dive into it a ton this offseason. Because they're very hungry. Next up, John House. Theoretically, if the 2022 Vikings played against the 2017 Vikings, who would win? Well, I think the 2022 Vikings offense would be tough with a matchup against the 2017 Vikings defense. But I think this defense, if they blitz the living piss out of Case, maybe he'd make a mistake or two. I think it would be super close, but I think this version would win. Mr. Raining Fire. What is the referee's job during the football game? To control the game or protect the game? Seems like doing a lot of controlling and less protecting.
So less protecting equals less controlling?
I guess so. I don't know. Will O.C. How in God's green earth can you make an argument that can support the ref's decision on the second fumble recovery? I thought there might have been a penalty committed for the flag. Yeah, I mean, that's fair, where the ball was clearly out before they even blown it dead. And it was clear recovery, clear touchdown. But once it blow it dead, the play is dead. And there's really nothing you can do about it.
Why would you ask that?
I don't know.
Some people say it's illegal to say God.
Yeah. Nova Physics. Did Dantzler start because I didn't see him out there? He was dressed, but he was an emergency reserve because he was dealing with illness against the Colts. And now he dinged up his ankle in practice this week. Jericho Buggy Wheels. Did we find out why Eagles didn't want Rager? Nah. I mean, just 2 mistakes. I mean, the physicality is there. Just, nah. Meat sauce. Okay, who wins the fight? Humans or all sea animals, orcas, sharks, seals?
Ooh.
Well, it depends where the fight is. I mean, if it's on land, we win. If it's in the ocean, they win. All right, so.
Okay, but what about, like, a swamp?
A swamp?
A swamp.
Yeah, a mixture. I like our chances in the swamp. There you go. Sundance. Jefferson is the greatest Minnesota Vikings receiver of all time. He's on the path. And, you know, CC was obviously phenomenal. Randy Moss was great, but also Randy Moss didn't finish his career here. Yeah, but Jefferson signs that second contract. Entire career in purple. I think he'll be that guy. Derek Baker, tacky outfit of all time. Kirk's how logo can you go Cousins after the game, or Herb Tarlek, WKRP in Cincinnati. I'm way too young for that reference. But Kirk's jacket was pretty good. 63 puffer fish. Where are the haters at? They're gone underground, but they're just waiting until the Vikings screw up, and then they'll be back. Money making Sean. Kevin O'Connell deserves Coach of the Year. Or we right? He really does, because everyone knew that the Eagles were going to be good. Everyone knew that the Bills were going to be good. And the Coach of the Year award is really about doing the best with what you got. And O'Connell inherited a sub-500 team. They were 8-9 last year, largely intact, and all of a sudden they're 11-3, potentially pushing for the 2 seed and maybe even the 1 seed. So I think that he should be a serious contender, especially if the Eagles drop a couple games down the end. Yeah. But that's it. Margaret, what do you think? What do you think?
What if the Eagles actually win the Vikings and they what if the haters actually win?
They won't.
You sure?
What'd you do?
I don't know. I don't know what I did.
Anyways, all right. Come back on camera. Say goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Say Skull production value. Say Skull production value.
School production value.